Good morning, students. This is Dr. A.K. Giri, Associate Professor, Institute of Environment Development Strategies, Bundelkhand, Jhansi. Today, I will speak on sustainable management of water resource. Before going to discuss in detail, I would like to remind you that this is a course which is very much important. I am sure you will be interested for this course, because it is huge information which has been given accommodate in this lectures, that most of the 50% lectures is confined to our own regional work. And I think if you go through this total lectures, it will be not only information for you only, but also you will be an asset for this national resource management, very specifically to the regional context. Okay, before going to discuss in detail, I would like to give you the overviews. As you know, there are important aspects of this discussion today. There are 12 different aspects I will be going to discuss. The first one, in my previous lecture also I have given some impression what is natural resource. As you know, natural resource is a materials or substances occurring on this mother earth. When I am talking about mother earth, that means that mother is the only source for any type of nourishment to the students or to the child. So, when we are looking for any type of resources, that is the mother earth which is nourishing us. So, any type of resources, there are three basic important characters. First one, it is limited availability, second utility, and third potentiality for depletions. Now, all these resources can be broadly classified into two main categories. This is the renewable resources, another one non-renewable resources. This is only based on the period of availability. As you know, coal is a non-renewable resources, because it has been found in the period of Devonian period, Carboniferous period around 60 million years before, but now when we will be using it will be exhausted and no more chance to get it again. However, water is a resource, is a renewable resource, because it can be renewed in an annual hydrological cycle. Now, there are 8 different resources. In the first lecture I have already discussed the soil resource. Today will be most important part, the fresh water resource. You know, water is the life, and without water we cannot survive. The quality and quantity of water determine our future and our life existence on this earth. Now, before going to discuss, we must know the concept what is sustainable management. Sustainable management, basically this is to meet the present requirement without compromising the ability of the future nation to meet their own need, and this is very much based on the 3 important basic characters. The first one is social. This is the social, and second the environment and the economic aspects. These 3 important aspects, they are like a pillar which support the whole sustainable management procedures or options or activities, and they are like a symbiotic association. They are complementary to each other. One cannot exist without support of the other. So, they are very much intertwined. So, this is a very delicate issue. Sustainability is not that easy, and we have to be very much here to maintain all components while going for any type of management of sustainable resource management. Now, why there is a need for sustainable management? As you know, global human population is going to reach 8 billion by the turn of the century 2050. Now, we know in most of the part the population is not that high as we have in India. You know, in India we have 18% of the global population, and that too only with 4% of the water resource. Now, you know, the rainfall becomes very much erratic. Somewhere torrential rain causing devastating flood, while historic waste drying mighty rivers on other sides. On the other side, the urban population in the region is increasing rapidly, hence mounting huge pressure on our scanty water resources. 85% of India's urban population has access to drinking water, but only 20% available drinking water meets the health and safety of our health. The situation is even worse when we look into the Bundelkhand region, because the semi-arid condition, again it is very much complex to manage our water resource efficiently. The underground water tables are also sinking very seriously, and the rivers are dying or declining because the erratic rainfall. However, the lack of any timely mitigation measure, it is the system, this region may be dragged into unforeseen calamities. Now, look at this slide, how much fresh water we have. When we have the huge ever-growing population, we have to think the sources of water. From this slide, you can get the impression of how much water we have in what form. This is the first bar. You can see that out of the whole water resource on this global the earth, only 2.5% is available as a fresh water. And in this second slide, the whole 2.5 is constrained to 100%, that only out of that 100, only 1.2% is surface water for our use. But again, this 1.2% has been shown in this third bar, where you can very easily get that lakes have been 21%, 20.9 means 21%, and groundwater, the permafrost ice, which will very much not available readily, but this 20% or 20.9% out of the other part is the atmospheric that water, which is 3%, and other part soil, swamps, rivers, they include 2.7%. So, it constituting around 2.24.5%, which will be available water. This is a very minimum, very very scanty amount of water. You can say this is very less amount of water to grow to support our whole population, which is growing rapidly. So, now looking to this present trend, the issues, we have to manage our water resource very judiciously, and for that we have to go for a strategic intervention for sustainable management of the water resources. In my work, I have tried to go into this type of strategic intervention, that is the first one, strategic intervention in rainwater harvesting, strategic intervention in reduce, reuse, recycle the wastewater, and the third one, strategic interventions efficiency to improve current trend of consumptions, and the next the develop storage and pond in watersheds. The last one intervention should be that essay to restore wetlands. Now, coming to the first one, how we can do this essay, first the rainwater harvesting. First we can go for this roof or hilltop water, and that water can be directly used, and that can be also excess water can be recharged. And the second part of this rainwater harvesting, that is the runoff, surface runoff, that can be recharged to groundwater. So, next second one strategy intervention should include that reuse, recycle wastewater, and for that we have to employ eco technology to use recharge treated wastewater. Now, the third one, the efficiency improvement, the current trend of consumptions. Every sphere of our water consumptions, we have a lot of things has to improve to increase the efficiency. Everywhere you will find a very inefficient use of the water, even sometimes 50% water is used and 50% is going waste in the leakage. So, we have to think that how to improve the efficiency of water used at the source in the buildings or in transport. So, these are the efficiency improvement, that is one of the very major important aspect that we have to go into detail how to improve the efficiency. So, now how to do it? Replace the RO filter with biochar. As you know, in household level we have the AquaGuard, which is having more than 90% water going waste. So, in my work I will show how it is important, how we can do, how we can replace the filter with a biochar. we will trying to discuss in the next slide. Next, employing drip irrigation in agriculture. You know, we have very serious and use or heavy use in quantity and quality of water in agriculture. In agriculture, I think we have to immediately concern how to go for efficient use of the water, that is the drip irrigation system. Currently, somewhere it is going on, and we have to promote this type of activities in a large scale. Now, repair the leakage immediately to stop wastage. Wherever it is the wastage, we have to think immediately. Every force has to be used to immediately repair that wastage if anywhere going on. Now, the develop storage ponds in watersheds. You can say, what is watershed? Watershed is the water where it is falling, and when it will be entering into large water bodies, the in between the area is called watershed, and they are also important part of the management of water. Now, the restore wetlands. So, this is also again having very incredible scope for wetland management in order to make a sustainable management of water bodies, water resources. Next, when we talk this strategy intervention option on rainwater harvesting, this important point has to be noted here is that in our campus we have started and it is already in the process. We have huge scope for water harvesting, that is the hilltop water. We have a very unique situation in our campus. We can make a model, we can show that how we can efficiently use the water coming on this hill and we can collect it. Here you can find a hill, this Kamakhya hill, we can get this runoff collected in the sand filter, then in the reservoir. We have to think one time investment, it may be crores, but it is very much urgent demand for our sustainable management, and because we are in an academic environment, we have to make other learn how we can make it sustainable, and this prototype can be implemented many other places in Jhansi. Now, rainwater harvesting, when we have the multiple storage building, we can collect the water from the terrace, and every block, every floor can be connected immediately with that supplied rainwater. When it is collected immediately, that can be a direct use of water, which can be at least when we have 1 month up together rainfall is there, we cannot rely on the water supply from outside, but from the terrace water immediately can be collected and supplied to this multi-story building. So, we can doing that by doing it, we can save the money, the currency of your personal money, resource, and also the energy, which is the important issues. Now, next, this is again, I am pretty sure that you will be getting a very new idea. No one is thinking about in that angle. I can let you, I have been trying in our campus. There is a huge plantation possibilities there. In Bundelkhand region, the soil is very much highly porous, and thereby some plantation, some selective plantation forestry can also boost huge quantity of recharging efficiency in the regional level, and that is also, this is a slide you can find in our campus. This is just in front of the boys hostel. We have the plants, the Arjun, terminal Arjun, which will be having very good efficiency, huge quantity of water can be recharged with same time. It will double benefit, it will be greening the environment, it will be cooling the environment, also it will be protecting our water resources. That is most strategic intervention, we must immediately concern on that issue. Now, again you will be finding very interesting work. In our campus we have done it, and this is using that local macrophytes, and in our campus, in our department, I have tried with my students, that is some of the macrophytes can be used for wastewater treatment, that is called eco-technological treatment of wastewater in Bundelkhand campus. This is the pilot study we have done, and we have found very, very interesting and demanding tool techniques which can be useful in our local level, in our regional issue to address. Here you can find the eco-technological approach. There are Ceratophyllum, the duckweed, Lemna minor, and this is one of the unique, please keep me remember, this is one unique plant. It is from angiosperming group, and they are submerged and thereby producing huge quantity of oxygen, that is promoting extremely to the wastewater degradation process. So, this is very unique, no one nowhere has been pointed out, and in our work we have seen, and it is found very much potential source for water to wastewater to get this treated fresh water. Here you can find this treatment consists of sedimentation terrace, reed wetlands that contains this typhus system, rumex system, heliocharis, then this stabilization pond. As I told you that stabilization pond duckweed that is called Lemna minor was included, and under this ceratophyllum this is the oxidation pond which require the oxygen, and the process in our regional water bodies have this type of species which are very much limited in some of the areas, but in Jhansi we are lucky that we have the ceratophyllums which can be used for oxidation pond to accelerate the type of wastewater treatment in our regions. Here this is the treatment efficiency in terms of COD of the wastewater. We find 71.1% removal efficiency, and DO it was maintaining very good DO 5.8%, which is very good sound wastewater treatment which can be very much possible to dispose anywhere in the water bodies. Now the next one, nitrate, you can find this is the 85% of the nitrate has been removed from the wastewater, which is having very good amount of nitrogen form of nitrate, ammonia, and this 85% has been removed. So in the next page we can say this efficiency can very much useful for our wastewater resource, because in the future we will having huge population in the urban areas and bound to produce wastewater. So this is one of the very potential and demanding technique that we can apply in our regional level to issue this freshwater requirement. Now another one interesting, very interesting, this is the recently my students they have done it, and this is how to replace the RO in the wastewater which is lost during preparing the fresh water drinking water at household level. In our techniques recently the MSc student they have done, there are some biochar which can be produced from these plants which are found locally, and that can be formed a charcoal in absence of oxygen. That charcoal can be grounded to form the biochar, can be applied to this treatment process where 100% water can be used as a fresh water in regional level. When there is a bad flooded condition, there is no power, that time even the poor economic condition people they can make use of this type of technique to get drinking water which will be healthy and at the cost of no supply of energy. And second most is water, when it will be very much drought condition, water has no chance to spoil or waste, but to use whole amount of water. This process can giving you very efficient technique at household level, at least in every region where there is a scarcity of water and in seasonal basis or in very flooded condition. The wetlands, as I told you, wetlands they are incredible natural body for sustainable management of water resource. Wetlands are very efficient techniques. Wetland is a land that is either flooded by water or saturated by water to the extent of successful establishment of the communities living in. Wetlands disappearing 3 times faster than the forest resource. They control extreme events of floods and droughts. They purify, replenish and recharge our groundwater resources. A wetland collects the water between the watershed and the water body. They serve as a natural sponge. They purify and replenish our water and against flooding and drought. Wetlands provide habitat for the thousands of species of plants and animals. Now next slide, as I already given you, this is the watershed areas. We have unique situation to make use of this watershed area in campus, and that can be a model. Now conclusion, our attitude, our future, it is combined responsibility of everyone. In context of ever growing population with dwindling water resource, we must adopt tool and techniques to increase efficiency of water use and to reduce, reuse and recycle wastewater for sustainable future of our growth. With increasing population, we are bound to produce huge quantity of wastewater, and to address this we must promote regional eco-technology treatment of wastewater for sustainable economic growth. This is the references. Many of my students they have done some of the researches already submitted. You can access these references from the library. Thank you all.